Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for April 13, 2023. And in the news this afternoon, banking executive freed of charges in $85 million cocaine trial. Banking executive Sheena Headley was freed of breaches of the Dangerous Drugs Act when she appeared in the St. James Parish Court in Montego Bay, St. James on Friday. Headley, 38, was freed of all charges following a submission by her attorney, King's Counsel Peter Champagny. She was charged with possession, dealing, trafficking and taking steps to export cocaine after the drug valued at approximately $85 million was reportedly found in the trunk of her Toyota Prado SUV during an operation. Champagny submitted that the prosecution had failed to demonstrate that his client had any knowledge of the cocaine that was discovered by the police in the trunk of her vehicle. It is alleged that on June 15, 2022, about 6 p.m., a team of officers from the Area 1 Narcotics Police Division carried out an operation at Headley's home in Goodwill, St. James. During the search, 10 rectangular-shaped packages were found in the trunk of the vehicle which belonged to Headley. The packages were subsequently identified as cocaine, weighing approximately 25 pounds. Following an interview session in the presence of her lawyer, Headley was arrested and charged. Headley's husband, Chad, was also arrested and charged after being named as a person of interest in relation to the alleged cocaine seizure, but he was later freed of the charges. Judge slams Shanika Gray's killer for deciding to sacrifice another human being. High Court Judge Justice Bertram Morrison on Friday described the slaughter of 15-year-old schoolgirl Shanika Gray in 2017 as a most gruesome and disgusting act and sentenced her killer to life in prison. Morrison, who ruled that the convicted killer, Gregory Roberts, will not be eligible to apply for parole until he has served 42 years, 9 months, and 21 days in prison. The judge explained that the time Roberts has already served in custody, 7 years, 2 months, and 9 days, was taken into consideration. Justice Morrison, in handing down the sentence, said he agreed with Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Andrea Martin Swebe, in her sentencing hearing presentation that this was one of the worst cases. It reminds me of the days when I used to witness the slaughtering of animals, goats, and pigs. This is what human lives have been devalued to? Justice Morrison asked. He decided that he would sacrifice another human being. Justice Morrison said, in reference to text messages Roberts had sent to his ex-girlfriend and her mother. In the text messages read in court, Roberts boasted of making a sacrifice as he warned his ex-girlfriend to repay money she had fleeced him. While the child was raped and stabbed 19 times in the upper body, Roberts was only charged with murder. Justice Morrison pointed out the ominous nature of the convicted man as he gave a summary of what took place on the night of January 29, 2017, as revealed during the trial. Shanika having gone to the taxi stand, having taken up in the defendant's taxi, been driven not to her house but elsewhere, been set upon by the defendant as the victim, could not have consented to having sex because of her age, and then the accused man stabbed her up to the upper body. The temerity of him video recording his deeds, and when that was not sufficient, he handed the video recorder to his accomplice, Mr. Mario Morrison, who then continued to video record him. And in one instance in that recording, a voice could be heard saying, "Dog, you know see you make the blood splash by me," Justice Morrison related in his judgment summation. Shanika's father and the stepmother were in court to witness the sentencing of Roberts, who was found guilty by a 7-member jury on January 24. Also in court was the child's aunt, Nikita Gray, who spoke to the media on behalf of the grief-stricken family. "We are happy that it's over. We won't have to be following up the court cases like we used to," stated a relieved Gray. "We can sleep now somewhat. We just have to see how we are going to move forward with all of the memories of Shanika and everything. But we are glad that they gave him what he deserved," the aunt added. Following the handing down of the sentence, Roberts' lawyer Chuma Paris gave notice that his client intends to appeal the outcome. When the news told Gray of the convicted man's intention, she said the family is ready to face whatever decision Roberts makes. "My reaction was that he has a right to appeal, but whenever he does, that I'll be right there under his tail. So whatever he wants to do, that's him. He has the right to do it, but I'm not going to say what I think. Whatever comes, we'll deal with it, she said. Gray thanked the police investigator, his team, and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, saying they did a wonderful job. Shanika, who was a grade 10 student at the time of her murder, was found dead 3 days after she had been reported missing. She was last seen alive in Montego Bay while on her way home from the funeral of a schoolmate. Roberts and Morrison were later taken into custody in connection with the killing. Morrison pleaded guilty in September 2022 after entering a plea deal with the state and was sentenced to life in prison a month later. St. Catherine Municipal Corporation owes ALGAJ $2 million. The St. Catherine Municipal Corporation has been invoiced by the Association of Local Government Authorities of Jamaica for a total of $2 million in outstanding dues. Chief Executive Officer Marvelyn Peter made the revelation at the monthly general meeting on Thursday. Chairman Norman Scott said the funds being sought are for the period March 31, 2019 to April 1, 2024. This money represents the fees paid by the corporation to the ALGAJ for subscriptions, which represents $10,000 annually for each of the 41 councillors, Norman Scott said. He established that the fees are different from the $500 monthly individual subscription, which each elected councillor should pay to the association. Scott emphasized that it is necessary for all members to be regularized. He said that the members will have more authority after the invoiced amount is honored. It was agreed that the payments will be made to fast-track efforts to have several issues resolved. We want to know how soon there is to be a general meeting of the ALGAJ, as I am here for over 40 years, and it is the first time there is no election for a new administration, Councillor for the Ginger Ridge Division, Ralston John Wilson said. Consumers still skeptical about addressing poor quality rice. While the Bureau of Standards Jamaica has begun its investigations into complaints about the poor quality of unlabeled bulk rice in supermarkets and wholesales island-wide, some citizens remain concerned about whether the necessary changes will be made for ensured provision of a high-quality product. Tasha Jarrett, a Trelawney native, told the news that when she recently sought to purchase rice from a wholesale on behalf of the Falmouth-based school she worked, she was warned by employees at that establishment against buying the rice. When I did the order for the school, the guys at the wholesale said it was really bad, the quality of it, so we didn't take it. We bought it from another wholesale, and we didn't get any complaints from the cooks, so I guess that bag was okay, said Jarrett. I buy the Grace brand of rice because I don't like the pound rice, as sometimes the quality is really bad, with broken grains and stones in the rice. The BSJ began its investigations following the publication of a news story on February 25 this year, in which consumers reported that the rice they had purchased had several faults, including containing questionable residue, being inedible even after careful cooking, and the complaints of feeling unwell after consumption. Just over a month later, a release was issued from the BSJ indicating that rice samples had been taken for testing, with action to follow based on the results. The National Compliance and Regulatory Authority began an investigation into reports of poor quality or tainted rice being sold in wholesales and supermarkets. Rice samples have been collected and submitted to the BSJ for laboratory testing, the release stated. Some preliminary results have been received, however all the relevant laboratory tests have not yet been completed. As soon as all tests are completed and the findings assessed, appropriate action will be determined, the BSJ release added. But that declaration is not enough for Andre Thompson, a resident of St. Catherine, who declared that he has been turned off from buying any more unlabeled rice after an experience in March when the rice he purchased and cooked ended up spoiling quickly. I bought the rice at a local supermarket in Old Harbor, and when I cooked it, I found it to be sticky, not the regular shelly way it used to be. I figured there was something wrong with the rice cooker, but after I put it in a pot and forgot to take it up overnight, it was slimy and spoiled, said Thompson. Since then, I have only had long grain rice from Grace or other brands. Even if the BSJ does something about it, I have been deterred from purchasing unlabeled rice ever again. In July 2023, the BSJ released the new draft standards for the US $56 million or Jamaican $8.7 billion rice importation sector. The draft report spoke to the need for the popular staple to meet the safety standards for human consumption, packaging, and the testing of samples. This followed concerns in 2016 about the quality of rice available on the local market when shoppers in Manchester reported unknowingly purchasing so-called plastic rice, which they said was stretchy when cooked. In response, the Jamaica Customs Agency announced a temporary halt on the clearance of rice at all ports of entry, pending a meeting with the relevant regulatory agencies to investigate the claims. Subsequent tests revealed no evidence of substandard rice on the Jamaican market, though it was disclosed that rice being supplied from outside of the Caribbean community would be subjected to further tests before being released into the domestic market. Following that incident, fresh concerns arose in 2022 about the substandard rice on the market after a shipment of rice at the ports reportedly failed to meet certain quality checks, including moisture content and the level of broken kernel. This prompted Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Obin Hill, under whose ministry the BSJ falls, to announce last year that the government was working to address the issue of imported substandard commodities that have found their way into the Jamaican market. According to the minister, checks revealed that there were 137 importers of rice in Jamaica who were all in breach, and that all the imported rice was supplied by the same place. Suriname and Guyana accounted for 90% of rice imported into Jamaica in 2021.